Gotta find a way, y'all. Y'all know. Escalate. War is not the answer. Hmm. And only love can conquer hate. Listen, y'all. Picket lines. Good evening, everyone. Once again, I come to you humbling myself, heavy hearted, coming to speak about some things that's just plaguing our community and ravaging us psychologically, leaving us all traumatized, unable to enjoy just a little bit of life. I come to you today asking that everyone please pay attention to the words that I'm speaking, understand, don't misconstrue. Because what's going on today in our neighborhoods is appalling. We are 6 days into the year, and so many parents and families are mourning the loss of their loved one, mourning the loss of their loved one. That, to me, has to be addressed. We have to begin to give real thought to curbing this violence. Leaders have to stand up. The pastors have to stop talking. The preachers have to stop preaching. Parents have to stop being complacent, accepting. The community has to stop running around scared and be progressive. Take part in the lifting up of our community. We can't blame everything on the youth. We can't do that. We cannot blame everything on our youth because our youth is not responsible for the conditions that they grew up in. Our youth are not responsible for the conditions that they grew up in. It is the generation before them and before them and before them and before them. It's a generational problem. But if we don't somehow, some way curb this trend of violence that's plaguing our communities, this pandemic that's killing us off fast and quick, mercilessly, if we don't stand up right now and do what it takes, come together. If we don't do that right now, we're not going to see a future for our people. An organization, a nation, whatever it is, job, whatever it is, if there is no youth a part of that situation, it is soon to die off because the youth steps into the place of those who are transitioning out. So if there's no youth involved in the progress and the process of rebuilding our communities, reinvesting in our communities, then we're going to see our communities perish. And then we're going to be pointing the finger at someone else and blaming them for the conditions that we created for ourselves. We know that the cards were stacked against us. We know that already. But we can't blame the cards being stacked against us for us self-destructing, committing violence against one another. It's troubling to me when I have to, and it's not just when I say I'm speaking of all of us, but I'm speaking from my perspective because I can tell you what's on my mind. I can't tell you what's on your mind. So it's troubling for me to constantly see just the start of the new year. And we can go back the last few months of last year, where we got a sister, Tracy Golden, simply just going to the store to buy something. A guy walks up to her and shoots her point blank range and robs her. Shoot her and rob her. For what? Take the stuff and run. But he shoots her and robs her. We have, over the New Year's weekend, we had 6 teens shot, 1 dead, a 19-year-old who was said by his family to be the comedian, the guy who kept everyone laughing. He wasn't into the street life. He was out just to have some fun with some friends. And he lost his life. We have brothers in Flint. Guy killed this other guy over nothing. It was over nothing. Having Lansing, attempted murder. Guys arrested. We have a body found partially buried in the backyard off Gratiot in Detroit. Have another shooting on Van Dyke in 7 Mile in Detroit. And I'm not naming all of them, but I'm just giving you an example of the type of nonsense that's going on. Families are missing their loved one. Families are losing their loved ones and left to mourn them. I think about these things because I understand the cycle of violence. I understand the cycle of trauma, of pain, depression. I understand it. I lived in it. I lived through it. I was born in it. And I still never overcame it. But I learned how to tame it. I learned how to restrain it. I learned how to deal with it. I'm no different than no one else. But I tell you this, what does separate me from so many is that I have grown to have mercy on others because I want people to have mercy on me. I want people to have mercy on my family. I want people to understand that the life that I once lived was just the life that I was pretending to live. It was not me. The shame and glory has been misplaced today. We glorify guns and drugs and the killers and the drug dealers and those guys who's making all the money doing criminal activity or doing the things that's unbecoming of manhood and unbecoming of the building of a healthy family. We glorify them. And we shame those brothers and sisters who just want to go to school. We shame those brothers and sisters who want to do something constructive with their lives. We shame those brothers and sisters who may be working at McDonald's or some other type of job that's not paying as much as you would want them to make. We shame them, but we glorify the other guy. The shame and glory has been misplaced. And so now when we glorify those things that are unbecoming of a healthy neighborhood, of a healthy community, of a healthy family, those things that are unbecoming of a promising future, when we glorify these things, how can we then place the blame on the child who was just following suit? He seen mom and dad do it, he doing it. So what am I saying? I'm saying that we have to start sitting down these young brothers and sisters. I don't care if they in a gang. I don't care where they at. I don't care if they the toughest guy on the block. That means nothing to me because I come to people in love. And if you harm me because I love you, then so be it. But I'm not going to shy away from being my brother and my sister's keeper. I'm not going to shy away from that because I'm tired of seeing our brothers and sisters just die. I'm tired of seeing these parents crying, these grandmothers crying. I'm tired. I think about the violence that's just running rampant. I mean, it's like you have these guys who shoot up a car right in front of the police. Yeah. The street guys say that's some gangster stuff there. But what about when they catch him or them or whoever it is and they go to jail and they leave their child behind to grow up without a parent? And a child sink into a depression, stress, anxiety, trauma. And that child then finds himself or herself in the streets and becomes strung out on drugs, involved in criminal activity, or things of that nature. Do we think about that when we call that guy a gangster because he did this? Is it gangster when a guy pull up in a white van next to a woman, whether he know her or not, and he get to grabbing her and trying to pull her into the van, and then he throws her in like she's a sack of trash? Is that gangster? Because I'm going to tell you, what if that was your sister, your daughter, your mother, your family member, your friend? That ain't gangster then, is it? It ain't gangster then, is it? It ain't gangster when it's your son, your brother, your family member, your friend. It's one of the victims killed while trying to hang out and just have fun with his teenage friends. It ain't gangster then. It ain't gangster when it's your mother, your grandmother, your sister, your daughter, your family member, your friend who goes to the party store just to get some juice or some milk or something. And a guy runs up on her, walks right up on her in clear view of a camera and just shoots her in her chest and goes through her pockets. It ain't gangster then. It ain't gangster when it's your daughter, who's missing, like this young 12-year-old sister named Milana Humphreys, been missing since December 28th, 12 years old. And now I think about Zion Foster, who came up missing and they never found her yet. And she's presumed to be dead. I think about her. And now we have this 12-year-old. And it's so many more. I just don't know all the names. Please excuse me. I apologize for not knowing all the names of those brothers and sisters who have come up missing, whether it was this year, last year, whatever year. I apologize for not knowing all of the names because it's so many. But what I don't apologize for is calling out our community, calling out these pastors, these preachers, these ministers, these teachers, these mentors, some of these social workers and a lot of the police officers. And I'm not apologizing for the things that I have to say about them, because the thing that I'm saying about them, I'm saying to myself, because we could all do more. And we all need to do more. I go out into the communities. It doesn't matter. I don't care about what goes on in the community, because I'm not going to say it's none of my business, but it's not the reason why I'm going there. I'm going there to try to breathe the breath of life into someone's body. I'm trying to breathe the breath of life into someone to resuscitate them from that dead state of mind that they had been living in for far too long. I'm trying to go into the community to breathe forth the breath of life into a body that has felt hopeless, alone. I'm trying to go into these communities to breathe forth the breath of life into these mothers, to know that they're not alone and their sons are going to be protected by brothers like me. I go into these communities to breathe forth the breath of life that was given me, that I know worked for me, the food of thought that was given me, that I know worked for me, the love that was given me, that I know worked for me. I go into these communities because I love my people. I understand the plight. I understand the pain. I understand the hurt. I understand the trauma, the depression. I understand it. I was victimized with it. Still victimized. It is once said that hurt people, but I've learned that hurt people know how to help people. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to help people. People can say that, man, you can't save everybody and all this other nonsense. I don't care. I don't listen to that stuff. I just wanted to tell you this story real quick. It's not even really a story. It's the story of a life, of all of our lives. So it does not apply just to me. What if you was able to reach just one young guy or one young girl who was going down a wrong path? You was able to reach them. You was able to teach them. You was able to cultivate them and bring them up to aspire to be something great, to aspire to be some constructive individual, to inspire to be some intelligent being, to inspire them to be the gift that they truly are. What if you can just reach that one child and stir them away from a life that's destined to swallow them up? How would that make you feel? How would that make you feel? Make me feel great when I'm able to do something to change the trajectory of life for someone who I personally know the path would swallow up. It makes me feel great to know that I'm in the community every day trying to clothe and feed and uplift my brothers and sisters. even when everyone else turned their back on him. Because I remember that no one ever turned their back on me that I knew of as I was paying attention. For those who did that I wasn't paying attention to, I'm not accounting for them. I'm talking about in my upbringing when I became a little conscious of where I wanted to go, no one turned their back on me. And I was a knucklehead. But no one turned their back on me. So who am I to turn my back on a young brother or young sister because they living a lifestyle that I may not have lived? They popping pills, they smoking stuff, and I don't do it. So what? I can't prejudge them. I can't judge them because, listen, that judgment can be the determining factor in that child going astray. How do I know? I'm living proof. I told you all a story about how people in my neighborhood, the teachers, everybody said that me and my brothers would grow up to be nothing. So they talked real bad about us. They weren't willing to give us a chance. But guess what? We was looking for mercy in people that had no mercy. We were straying after guys that didn't care about us, had no mercy. They weren't even real. They were fictitious in their own fantasy. But yet we strayed and looked for favor by these people. Instead of going within and knowing that you have a purpose in life, you have a cause. It's a reason why you're still breathing today. It's a reason why God pulled me through my gunshots. It's a reason why God turned me away from those bullets that was coming right at me, but they missed me. It's a reason why the gun was at my head, just inches away from my head. But I never got shot in the head when the gun went off. It's a reason why the doctors told me that I would be paralyzed on my left side and probably wouldn't be able to walk straight again. But I showed no signs of paralysis whatsoever. It's a reason why God sat me down for 28 years in prison and woke me up. And woke me up at the age of 26. And allowed me to study what was necessary to become the man that I wanted myself to become. It is a reason that brothers and sisters are put in a position to help someone. Let me tell y'all something, man. I don't want to take up much of y'all time. It's a Friday. Everybody want to hang out, even though it's cold outside. I understand that. But I don't want us to forget about those families that's mourning. I don't want us to forget about those children and brothers and sisters that we lost just in the last week. I don't want us to forget about the trauma, the trail of trauma, bloodshed, and depression, fear that spans our entire community. I don't want us to forget about how easily it could have been us and how great the possibility is that the next time it could be us. I don't want us to forget about the respect that we must carry on with one another so that we are not glamorizing the negativity that we see come from one another, but we're respecting one another as a human being, and we're holding you accountable to act accordingly. I don't want us to forget about 2022, all of the brothers and sisters that we lost to senseless violence. We lost, actually in 2022, 135 people were killed by the police. And 25 occurred in Detroit. And 10 of them took place since March of 2021 in Detroit. And let me correct that first of all. That's 135 people killed since 2015 by the police. What am I saying? We riot, we rally, we protest against the police when they kill us. And we do it rightfully. It needs to be done. But I want us to rally and protest our self-hatred, our crimes against our own communities, sex crimes against our sisters, our brothers, kidnapping of our children. Let's protest that. Let's stand up for something greater than just a selfish interest. A selfish interest. Only when it happens to me should I come up and say something. No, because a threat to justice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. So listen, we're going to leave out of here. I'm going to finish playing a little bit of this song and I'm going to close out for y'all. I appreciate y'all listening to me, because I'm going to keep coming at you. I'm going to keep holding people responsible. And I ask that you keep holding me responsible. Check this out, y'all. Wow, thanks for Chaz. So listen, y'all. I'm asking everyone, especially these organizations, and we're doing a great job. These organizations from Michigan Liberation, Nation Outside, Ceasefire, uh, uh, Detroit United. Uh, it's so many I can't even name, to be truthful. But we're doing a great job, but we could do so much more. So I'm asking that we step up our game and do so much more. That's why my organization is the Great Minds Project 5.0, because I'm standing on the 5 highest principles known to man: love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And with that, I say peace and love to those within the sound of my voice. And for those who cannot hear the sound of my voice, I'm asking y'all to pass along the message, because someone needs to be inspired. Peace.